Our story begins with footprints and wet sand, a trail stretching from Africa toward every distant shore. Tens of thousands of years ago, small bands followed the stars and tides, their world defined by the horizon. But a quiet revolution was coming. They learned to plant wild grains and tend to animals. Near the great rivers, the Nile, the Indus, the first settlements took root, and mud bricks rose into cities. Where food could be stored, power could be claimed. To manage this new world of granaries and strangers, humanity needed a new tool: writing. On a wet clay tablet, a simple mark for a measure of barley became the foundation for law and taxation. These systems didn't just count things, they redefined what was possible. And from this order, new questions arose. Sages and prophets began to ask not just how to survive, but how to live a meaningful life. On these foundations, great belief systems were built. In the Indian subcontinent, Hinduism and Buddhism explored the cycles of duty, suffering, and release. In the East, Confucianism provided a blueprint for family and state. And across the Mediterranean, Judaism and later Christianity offered new covenants for how humanity should relate to the divine and to one another. Empires rose, wrestling with the same eternal puzzles of power and justice. From Persia to the Han Dynasty, royal roads and sea lanes stitched the world together. Bloods, ideas, and plagues all traveled these new networks, proving that connection changes everything. And then the world began to shrink. The vast land routes of the Mongols met the new ocean lanes of European explorers. For the first time, all shores were drawn into a single interconnected system. This Columbian exchange moved crops and microbes across continents, but it also fueled the brutal Atlantic slave trade, forcing millions into chains. The roar of the cannon announced a new era where technology could topple thrones. With these new connections came an explosion of ideas. The telescope revealed the cosmos, the printing press spread knowledge, and the steam engine launched an industrial revolution. Cities swelled, fortunes were made, and society strained under the pressure. The new loyalties of the nation-state and the ambitions of empire set the stage for a century of unprecedented conflict. The trenches of the First World War and the shadow of the atomic bomb shattered old certainties. In their wake, maps were redrawn as empires fell, and new global institutions were built to keep a fragile peace. Today, we live in a world woven together by silicon and code. The internet connects us in ways our ancestors could never imagine, while artificial intelligence and genetic editing pose questions that challenge the very definition of humanity. Every headline, every market tremor is an echo of these past crossings. The story is not over. The only question is what we will do with this inheritance before the next great crossing arrives.